any longer.
I am going to end this once and for all.
You can't. He must stand trial.
He has control of the Senate and the courts. He's too dangerous to be left alive.
I'm too weak. Oh, don't kill me, please.
It's not the Jedi way. He must live.
Please don't.
I need him.
Please don't.
Hey everyone, I'm going to do a requested video by several of you who proposed this topic, which I think would be pretty fun to do. What if Anakin fought Mace Windu? Now, while in the comics it's seen that Anakin spars with Mace Windu in training. Let's go into a side story here in an alternate universe during the scene in Revenge of the Sith where Anakin shows up to see Mace Windu cornering Emperor Palpatine, and the infamous hand-slicing moment that caused a seismic shift in the galaxy. What if Mace Windu, with all his powers and his special force ability called Shatterpoint, allowed him to sense Anakin's intentions and movements just before they happened? He saw Anakin reach for his lightsaber, and instead of continuing his downswing, he moved it to block Anakin's attack, staring at the young Jedi with disgust. Let our story begin. Palpatine screaming for Anakin to save him, disarmed and in the corner pretending to be afraid. Mace turns his gaze to Anakin, motioning him to stop. The two face one another, knowing this was going to be a battle that would leave only one alive, and the other with severed limbs, at the very least. Anakin used his aggressive Form 5 fighting style to start the attack, aiming for Master Windu's head. Now, we must take into account here that not only was Mace more experienced, but he was also proficient in the 7th form of lightsaber combat, which he created his own variant of called Vapad. For those who don't know, Form 7 was the same style that Darth Maul used, focusing on aggressive and athletic movements. Mace's purple lightsaber was indicative of his ability to harness the dark side while remaining in the light, for the most part. So we have two Jedi using the dark side to fight one another. This should be interesting. Anakin clashes against Mace's saber, the two engulfing in a battle more aggressive and fast than anything we have seen before. Blow after parry after blow, the two looked like blue and purple streams of light moving through the Chancellor's office as if floating through air, knocking over paintings, pots, and slicing through walls. Their surroundings were only a playground for their duel. You won't take him! I need him! I never should have trusted you, boy. I knew you were corrupt from the beginning. Now you'll meet your destiny, chosen one. Mace quickly spins his saber too fast for Anakin to see, moving faster than he knew he could. Anakin moved out of the purple blade's sway just in time. However, the tip of his ear was sliced off and immediately cauterized at the heat of Windu's saber. Without flinching, he continued to fight, knowing if he even faltered for half a second, he would be killed. This was the most gifted fighter he had ever faced, faster than Dooku and more powerful than Obi-Wan. Anakin had surely met his match. The two came to square off once again. The Chancellor is controlling your mind, Skywalker. Don't make me do this. Remember Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. Everything the Jedi have fought to protect. The Jedi protect nothing but their own interests, swearing allegiance to the Galactic Senate, placing the will of the people over the will of the Force. That's not the ancient Jedi way. That's the way of the corrupt Council. They've held me back this entire time. My powers could have surpassed everyone's by now if I had been trained properly in the ways of the Force, not just the narrow-minded views of the Jedi. It was all a lie! Mace looked behind him. Across the hall stood Palpatine with a smirk on his face so wide he looked like a Cheshire cat, merely watching the duel and not stepping in. Shaking his head, Windu knew it was time to unleash the full dark side within him. He knew Anakin had to be destroyed. He sensed the alliance he had with Palpatine and knew what would come of it. No more games. He had to end this now. Wary of Palpatine jumping in, he force-pushed the wall beside him to open up and jumped into the next room, using the dust of the collapsing debris to his advantage to veil himself, the whole room covered in a purple fog. As Anakin entered it, he couldn't see Windu until he dropped to his knees as he looked down to see his severed legs laying on the floor several feet in front of him, looking up to only see a purple lightsaber coming straight to his face as it stopped Master Windu looked behind him and saw 50 clone troopers running through the door and opening fire on him. He deflected every single shot. It must have been over 100 blasts a second at least. As he saw a red lightsaber emerge from behind them all, Palpatine was beginning to crouch, ready to twirl in the air like a cyclone of evil towards Mace. He couldn't win this battle. He quickly turned and cut the wall behind him with his saber, blasting it into bits and pushing it into the city of Coruscant down below. He turned and said, "This party isn't over." Then jumped down below until he could be seen no more. Palpatine turned around to Anakin, raising his hood and calling for medical attention.
We must move quickly. The Jedi are relentless. You will contact the others. If they survive, I must summon someone I've kept hidden.
His eyes glazed over with a crimson-orange hue as he voiced the words,
Darth Maul.
Thanks for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're thinking, wait, what, Darth Maul is dead? He actually isn't. He's very much alive for those who haven't watched the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels series. I highly recommend you check those out if you haven't. Help me write part 2. I want you guys to take over this one for me. Write down below in the comments what you would like to happen. You can bring out any character you want. Legends, canon, it doesn't matter. Let's make it cool. Anything can happen here. It's all up to you to decide. I'm still reading all the comments from the What If Qui-Gon Trained Anakin Skywalker video, which is turning out to be a pretty cool part too. I'll see you all in the comments below and in tomorrow's video of Star Wars Theory. Until then, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends,
May the Force be with you.
Now, fulfill